James Tierney here with Pub Trivia Nerds, going over some tips and tricks on being a very engaging and a successful trivia host. The most important tip that I give anybody who's looking to start hosting trivia or an open mic night or a karaoke night is you need to form a strong relationship with the venue. Now, how would I suggest doing that? The first thing I would do is email the contact that you get from Pub Trivia Nerds separately and ask for a meeting. Just take some time, a half hour in the afternoon or an evening where they're not that busy, to sit down and just chat with them about what is the venue looking to get out of this trivia night? What are you looking to get out? Right? The idea of forming this relationship is because you want to make sure that the venue is on your side if anything were to happen. Say, for example, you needed to cancel last minute, or if you have an unruly customer. You want to make sure that the venue is on your side in whatever decision you have to make. An easy way to make sure that the venue is on your side and you're creating that good relationship is to show up to the venue for all of your events, both prepared and early. Right? If you come strolling in 5 minutes beforehand and they're unsure if you're going to be there and you've got customers asking them, is trivia actually happening tonight? That is not going to be a good relationship. And most likely, that trivia night is going to fail. So make sure you're showing up 15 minutes early to not only form that relationship with the venue, but also with the regulars. What you'll notice as you continue to do more and more trivia nights is you'll get individuals that this becomes part of their routine. You want to keep that because you want to build a core group of both teams and also bartenders or waitstaff, whatever, that are again on your side in case something were to happen. Speaking of if something were to happen, one of the questions that I get a lot from trivia hosts that I'm helping out or I'm coaching is, what do you do if you have someone who just won't stop yelling out answers or is being really rude to you? My first suggestion is just to ask them kindly to stop ruining the vibe. Me personally, I like to early on in the rules, when I'm saying the rules at the beginning of a trivia night, talk about what the expectations are. And I say how everyone who's playing in the venue, we've all agreed on these expectations. And that if anybody breaks these expectations, they're going to be asked to leave. If people still break those rules, they're yelling out answers. My biggest tip is just to be as kind as possible into the microphone. Let them know, like, if you don't stop doing this, we are going to have to ask you to leave. We're trying to have a very fun and light evening tonight. We don't want to have to kick anybody out. 9 times out of 10, that's going to be enough. Now, of course, there's rare situations where they might get unruly, and that's why you want to have that relationship with the venue so they can kick this individual out. Now, here's some advice on being a host behind that microphone once the trivia night starts. The first thing is you're going to want to be lively into the microphone. Okay. For example, you don't want to be like this. What does VCR stand for? Being monotone is not going to keep the energy up in the room. I tell everyone who's going to be hosting for Pub Trivia Nerds or other events that you want to pretend like you're a DJ at a wedding or you're on the radio. You have to really be lively and energetic. So instead of saying, what does VCR stand for? Very monotone. You want to be like, what does VCR stand for? Question number one. Again, what does VCR stand for? And the way you'll do that is you'll just make different inflections every now and then, and this takes some practice. So try to not be monotone into the microphone. Be lively. Also, feel okay to joke around with the room. Me personally, at the beginning, I let them know that I do improv, that I do stand up, and I say, hey, one of the rules is no cheating. Please don't cheat. Leave that for your personal life. Just a very small joke that gets the room laughing and gets them a little lighthearted. And if there's a question that Pub Trivia Nerds gives you that's, worded a little, weirdly or says something that's kind of off, feel free to comment on that, right? If someone yells something at you, feel free to do some bantering with them. If you're just closed off and you're really just there reading the questions and the answers, people aren't going to want to come back and have a good time at your trivia night. What if a team or a player complains that an answer is incorrect? Well, there's really two ways you could approach this. One is you can just blame Pub Trivia Nerd and say, hey, sorry, this is the answer that they gave me. That might not be good enough for some players. So what I usually do is I say, hey, listen, during one of the breaks, during the picture round or the matching round, why don't you come on up and we'll talk about it? I'll search on Wikipedia or I'll look it up or I'll have them pitch to me why they think their answer is right. If their answer is right or I think like, yeah, that makes sense, then I'll give them the point. Again, you are the host, you are in charge, you have the final say. So the best thing to do, right, is not necessarily being, kind of hard and everything, but it's to create the environment and to make sure you get people coming back because that's what's going to make the venue continue to pay. That's what's going to make people be very excited to see you. And it's going to build the overall brand. What about at the end of trivia night? I get questions of like, well, what do you do when you end? Well, I make sure that I clean up everything. Again, I want to have that relationship with the venue. So I want to make sure my space is all cleaned up. Bring any bottles or food or anything that I had. I want to make sure my place is spotless. And then I stick around for 10 minutes or so. I go and I say, see you next week to all of the regulars. And if there's new people that I hadn't met before, I'll say, oh, thank you for coming out. I hope I see you again. Again, just building those relationships. I say goodbye to all the bartenders, all the wait staff. And in fact, one thing I didn't mention before is during my rule speech, I say, make sure you're tipping well. And throughout the night, I say, give it up, applause for the bartenders and the wait staff tonight. Again, all of this just builds camaraderie. It builds the culture of an amazing trivia night. Last but not least, have fun with it. Have fun being a trivia host because it is fun, right? You get to learn stuff, but then you also get to meet some amazing people who are there to have a good time. Very rarely do people go out to a trivia night at a bar, very much like, oh, I gotta win, I gotta win, I gotta win. There are very few of those individuals. Most people are there to have fun, have a few drinks with their friends, maybe blow off some steam after work. And so you want to make sure that you are having fun as well. The way you act behind the microphone is going to reflect on the entire venue. So if you're lively, if you're joking around, if you're talking about how much good time you're having, then the whole venue is going to have that same vibe. So again, make sure that you are having fun. Thanks for watching this. You can feel free to reach out to Jason at pubtrivianerds.com if you have any questions at all. And again, the main thing, make sure you have a great relationship with your venue and your players. If you do that, everything else is going to fall into place. Good luck. You're going to do great.